Hi everyone. There's various opinions on visits and outings from a dementia unit, but in general, visits are fantastic. They're supportive, they're well needed, and they go a long way to enabling a resident to adjust to a dementia facility. The exception is if the carer, if you've been looking after someone, say, for 8-10 years and you're absolutely and utterly exhausted, then you may well need a rest for the first week or two that the person goes into the facility, say your husband. So that being the case, try and get someone else to visit instead, so it's not so stressful for the person. Someone close to them, a friend, a sibling, next door neighbour, someone they know, so that they can settle with that. And in terms of outings are always fantastic. Unless the person has high level anger, then you'll need to liaise with medical staff to make sure there's no problems around that. But otherwise, outings, walking, especially on a summer stay when they can get fresh air, and especially walking and outings for people who are fit and active and have been used to walking outside and having that independence, they especially need the walks and the outings. I mean, if the person, say your mother is 90 years old and she's frail and she's on a walker and she doesn't like walking much outside anyway, it's a different story. But if the person is in their late 70s and they're fit and active, they've only just got the dementia problem, otherwise physically no other diagnoses, then they really do need to get out. It's essential they get out, otherwise they just get so stressed and upset and frustrated and angry often, if it's men especially, and also women. So to avoid this, if they can, get outside and have walking outings every day by whoever in the family that can manage that, because someone from the family needs to take them out for their walking outing. Staff don't have time. They may say on entry that they'll take your relative out for a walk, but the practical point or the practical aspect is that there's never time. There's never time really to even finish the cares. Only just enough time for that and the meals. Very rarely is there leftover time for taking relatives out for walks. So please, as resident relatives out for walks, so please, as relatives, make walking the priority, especially for a younger person, in their 70s, or often people with dementia are younger now, aren't they? 9% of people, get younger onset. So these are the residents that really need that support in terms of walking. Someone in the family, and just have a diary, maybe in the whiteboard in their room, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, who can come in each day to take them for a walk, especially at the beginning when they have just come into the unit, when it really is the most stressful point. Now, in terms of other outings, like overnight outings, they can be done, but it's a lot more difficult actually. I mean, I've actually only seen a couple of people that have managed this successfully, relatives, because a number of reasons to this. Firstly, the resident becomes institutionalized quite quickly. Flat terrain, same looking corridor, same looking walls and doors. It's a completely different world for them. So to go out into another world, even if it's their home that they've probably quickly forgotten now, it's all the steps and stairs and rails and, the furniture. They're just not used to the layout. And they can often fall, or sometimes fall, unfortunately, when they go for overnight stays, if they're getting up to the toilet or things like that. Really, if you have someone overnight to stay, your relative overnight to stay, you really have to be with them the whole time, because it's just too easy to have falls, and at night them going to the toilet. Someone will really need to be with them in the room. I can't see that they'd be able to manage on their own, because like in a facility, there's, cameras, aren't there, keeping an eye on the residents, and staff are going around every 2 hours, and there's all sorts of alerts going on which won't be in a normal domestic home. So you need to be really nearby to make sure that your mother is organised, mother or father is organised with that. But if if you are able to be there, or you can get employ a carer to come overnight, and they can be there to help her, maybe sleep in the same room in another bed, or next door too, so that you can keep an eye out or an ear out. That can be managed. But also there's the medications that you'll need to take to make, that's an important part. And then the any other sort of incontinence products, you'll need to take as well. There's quite a lot to consider. But if you're up to that, I have known a son who managed to take his mother out overnight. Fantastic. And he was on a farm 2-3 hours away. That was incredible. Actually, I've written about that in the novel, The Resident's Voice. And but she loved that car trip, 2-3 hours, fabulous. She was used to driving, from the farm into town. I mean, she'd be distressed at the unit, but going to the farm and in the car drive, she was great, incredible. And he managed her really well with other help when she arrived there. He used to take her out every few months to the farm for the weekend, or, Saturday night and Sunday. And she managed really well, and it was a real respite for her. Those trips really helped keep her stable. You could really see that. I mean, towards the end of the 3 months when she was waiting for the next trip out, she used to get quite uptight. When she came back, she was always settled. So it really did work in that respect. So it can be done, but there's a lot of liaison and organisation and planning and confidence that needs to come. You have to be able, if the person falls, you have to be able to pick them up and strong enough to do that. I mean, you've got to have a certain level of skill to be able to have someone overnight. So if you can have a care, if you're not medical and if you're not confident, you haven't looked after your mother before, have another carer there, I would suggest, or someone that has cared for elderly people before, and then it will be all right. So in terms of medications and going out overnight and visits, all of these are in the epilogues of both books, The Resident's Voice and The Resident's Rise. But just in terms of the prior video that I've done on medications, I was mentioning about that and how medicating can, if there's been recent increase in medication, it can affect gait and walking patterns of people. I've written about that in depth in the novel part of The Resident's Voice. Now, the novel in both books, the first half of both books is a novel, which is about the day-to-day lives of residents in a dementia facility, which leads into the epilogues at the end of the book, which is about the practical positive techniques that relatives can implement to help their family member in a dementia unit. So the novel is, it's light reading, and in part, mostly light reading, but it's about all the genuine, serious challenges, obstacles and challenges that residents in dementia facilities face and how they overcome these in most part. So it's inspiring reading, and it's important. It's all based on fact and my observations and experiences over many years working with these people. So it really does help in terms of the learning curve that's needed. As a relative, the learning curve that you really need to partake in to be able to be part of this dementia world and, keep your own strength of mind going within it. If you're informed and, knowledge is power, then you'll find you'll manage the whole journey a lot better yourself, which is a really important part of it. So thank you for your looks, support and subscriptions, and please pass on these links to people that need help caring for people with dementia and this knowledge, information and insights. And please keep the comments coming. Thank you.